Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Inside the Dome. I'm John Dodaro, just me for this episode, and it is long overdue for an episode of this. I am so sorry we missed last week. So this episode is going to be essentially recapping everything that's happened pretty much over the past 2 weeks, I would say. So this is going to be a jam-packed episode, a lot of talking from me. So thank you all for listening or watching, if you're watching on YouTube. Got a lot to discuss in 1 hour maximum, from March Madness to Pirates baseball being back. Got the Pirate hat already on. It's been a great start to the season already, and who knows how long that's going to last. There's some WWE news, some NFL news, MLB starting, NBA and NHL are both ending soon. You got the Masters starting today as well, the day I'm recording this, I should say. And I mean, God, there's a lot happening. So I'm going to try to get through all of it as much as I can. It's going to be a fun little episode. So stay tuned for everything I'm about to say and everything going on in the next couple weeks, too. So where do we start today? Might as well get it over with since I'm a little bit late to the party on it. March Madness has officially ended. I was terribly wrong. Let's just get out of the gate and say that Carlin was also terribly wrong. He was way more wrong than I was. He took Kansas to win it all. I took Arizona to win it all. How did Arizona do? They lost in the Final Four game badly against Michigan. That was not good at all. 91-73, Arizona. It was just not their day. Michigan, it was their day. Arizona, I know, was a lot of people's pick. It was mine. Once that happened, I had no chance of winning any of my groups. On the other side, UConn beat Illinois 71-62. I think one thing that's interesting talking about before that was the Duke UConn game, because a lot of people had Duke winning it all, and Duke lost to UConn in probably the craziest moment of the entire March Madness run this year. Mullins from UConn hitting that crazy half-court shot, logo shot, I would call it, winning the game 73-72. That game was a game of inches. It was the definition of a game of inches. One of the Boozer twins who had the ball, I mean, he should have held it and taken the foul, and Duke probably would have won. Instead, he tried passing it to a guy that was wide open down the court. Literally, if he threw it an inch higher, Duke would have won the game. An inch higher. And the shot from Mullins had to be perfect as well. So when I say it was a game of inches, it was a game of inches. Duke versus UConn. It was probably the craziest game of the whole tournament, which led to the Final Four. UConn beat Illinois. Then the championship, I will not lie completely. I was watching Monday Night Raw, and it was a good Monday Night Raw. I kind of forgot that this game was even happening because, I mean, I'm an East Coast guy, Pittsburgh, and the game starts at like 9 o'clock at night. Why does it start so late? Why? Like 9 o'clock, 8:45, but you know they got to do the introductions and all that. So a 9 o'clock start is rough. I won't lie. That means the game won't end until like after 11, I would say. And I mean, if you work, you probably want to be in bed by 11. So like, what are they doing? Why is it so late? Why can't they start at 8 or 7 or something like that? I don't know. Maybe they're just appealing to the West Coast. Maybe. I don't know. Kind of dumb that they started so late. I would be the one to argue you do the game on Sunday like you do the women on Sunday, but like the women's game happens every Sunday, and then the men's game is on Monday. But I don't know. I guess it's tradition. Like that's what everyone will say. Like, oh, that's what they do. That's what they do. Guess what? You can change things. Things can be changed. Make it a Sunday or Saturday game. I don't know. Like I feel like too, like the break is so long from the Elite Eight to the Final Four. It's like a whole week, where in the other rounds it's only a 4-day break. Whereas the break from the Elite Eight to the Final Four is a whole week. I feel like it's a little long. I won't lie. But, oh well, that's just what they do, I guess. Congrats to Michigan for winning. I hate saying that. I don't like Michigan. Good team. Shot a lot of free throws. That's literally why they won. A third of their points were free throws. So the embodiment of a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander game from the Michigan Wolverines. They won 69-63. That was very close to my tiebreaker score of 69-67. So look at that. UConn, I mean, Dan Hurley is fantastic. He's probably one of the best coaches. A little aggressive sometimes, but he is still one of the best coaches in college football, basketball. I can't wait for college football season already at this point. But he is one of the best coaches, and they started to come back. I mean, this game was pretty lopsided the whole game, but they started to come back near the end. They kept it a little bit competitive, but they just couldn't make certain shots. I mean, it's just basketball, it can go any way. Like, it's tough because in the NBA, to win an NBA championship, you have to win 7-game series. So you can be off 1 game or 2 games or 3 games, but win the series. In March Madness, it's 1 game. That's why you see more upsets. It's 1 game. 1 game, you might just not be on your game. You just might not be getting the shots you want to be getting, and that can make or break your entire season. So that's why March Madness is so tough to win, because it's 1 game elimination. There's no best of 3, best of 5, best of 7. It's tough. It's tough to win March Madness. So that's why sometimes I think, like, if you win March Madness, are you definitively like the best team? Like, obviously you won, so you would say you are, but are you truly the best team? Like a team like, I mean, let's just say last year, Duke, Cooper Flag, and all of those players that they had. Like, I think they could have maybe won March Madness if it was a best of 3, best of 5. Like, I think on paper, they're the better team. But because, I mean, if you're off your game one night, just one night you're off your game, you might lose. So that's why March Madness is just funny, because that's why you see upsets. That's what makes March Madness special, too, because you get the upsets that you might not expect. Now, there weren't as many upsets this year. I know Texas was the big upset team, the 11 seed going all the way to the Elite 8. But that's what makes March Madness interesting. But it does make you question who is truly the best team, because one day you just might not be on your game, but you might be the best team. Congrats, Michigan. But it's also the same thing with the women, because, I mean, God, UConn was undefeated the whole year. They were absolutely undefeated, didn't lose a game. They were a 1 seed. The women's bracket, I mean, I had West Virginia winning it all, but you know me and my bias. So, yeah, I am not going to pick with a lot of urgency. But the Final Four was all 1 seeds. UConn, South Carolina, UCLA, and Texas. All 1 seeds. And I probably would have picked UConn if I was being serious. But you had UConn versus South Carolina. I feel like in most instances UConn would win. UConn was favored. It was literally a super dog betting odd, I would say. It was like 6.5. So, but South Carolina won 62-48. Like, it was their day. UConn did not play a very good game. Shots were just not going in. There was some drama too with the head coaches as well. But if you made that like a 7-game series or something, or a best of 5, I feel like UConn would win. That's just me. But like, they were just off their game one day and they lost. But you could also say the same thing about the finals too. Like, South Carolina got killed against UCLA. Would UCLA kill South Carolina in a best of 5? I don't know. But the other semifinal game was UCLA and Texas. This was a sloppy game with like low scoring. Eventually went to 51-44, but it was a low scoring game. And the championship was an utter blowout. You would think South Carolina would be competitive after beating UConn, but they got killed 79-51. This wasn't even a game at all. It was a complete blowout from UCLA. So congrats to UCLA for winning. Good for them, definitely. It was utter domination, to say the least. Wasn't even competitive, so congrats to UCLA. They did a good job, and that wraps up March Madness. So overall, March Madness was definitely fun. I think there were some really great games. Maybe not enough upsets past the first day. Obviously, UConn beating Duke was a huge standout. Duke always tends to choke, so it's just a matter of when and how do they choke. That's really what it comes down to with Duke. So that's why I never picked Duke to win it all, and I probably won't next year as well, no matter what 5-star prospects that they have that will go to the NBA. It's kind of funny. Let's move on, though, from March Madness. March Madness is officially done. It was fun. It was really fun to watch. It's one of the best times of the year. Pirates baseball is back. It's probably going to be in the thumbnail. Pirates baseball is back. And call me crazy because, like, we've been doing this podcast for this is like our third year now. And in those other 2 years, those 2 seasons, I would barely ever watch the Pirates. I'd go to some games with Carlin, but I would barely watch them on TV. I literally couldn't. Well, that era has changed because now I bought the access to watch the Pirates. Because first off, I'm a YouTube TV guy, so I don't get Sportnet Pittsburgh through that. So I literally bought it recently. So now I get to watch every Pirate game. I've already been to a Pirate game with Carlin on Tuesday, and they won. They have a winning record, 7-5. And I'm recording this on a day where they are not playing. So their record is still 7-5. They've been solid lately. I've seen a lot of promise with the Pittsburgh Pirates. I've probably watched all of their games their opening day. I didn't get to watch any of their games from their opening day until their opening home game. But then I've seen every other game since. So, quick observations. I mean, Paul Skeens has recovered well after his disastrous start. I just watched him pitch in person on Tuesday. He only gave up 1 home run, and that was the only run scored, and that was right before he got pulled. But other than that, he pitched fantastically in a 7-1 win against the Padres. So he pitched great. Mitch Keller's been pitching really well as well. Bubba Chandler, he just pitched. He was pitching good, but then the game kind of fell apart later on, so he got the loss. But I didn't think he was pitching bad beforehand, but the game kind of fell apart. Ashcraft pitched a good game recently too. Mlodzinski is kind of just all right, I would say. I believe he's pitching Friday. Yes, he is pitching today on Friday. So batting wise, though, got some bats lately. Not really in their most recent loss, but in their most recent win. I'm liking what I'm seeing with the Pittsburgh Pirates. O'Neal Cruz, he might not be a great fielder, though he hasn't made any blunders recently. He can hit the ball, though. He's been hitting the ball well so far this season. He's got 4 home runs, 12 RBIs already, leads the team in both. He is on fire right now. Brandon Lau has cooled off a little bit, but he had the first home run of the MLB season. So I'm giving him that. He had 2 home runs that game, 2. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's made a good impression, but he has cooled off a little bit. Brian Reynolds is Brian Reynolds. He has not been bad at all. Ryan O'Hearn's been a nice surprise, too, a new guy that we added as well. He's got 3 home runs, 11 RBIs already, hitting really consistently. York, game winner last week. Nick York is also hitting really consistently, too, right now. Nick Gonzalez is there. Not bad as well. He had 2 RBIs at the game I was at. Spencer Horwitz is starting to pick it up a little bit. Mangum's decent death. Henry Davis hit the ball well at the game I went to. He and Joey Bart are the 2 catchers. And then we got the man of the hour, who I saved for last, Connor Griffin, who, yes, it is confirmed, for anybody wondering, the Pirates have signed him. 9 years, $140 million. He has been paid. It is finalized. The Pirates confirmed it themselves. Connor Griffin is a Pittsburgh Pirate for the next 9 years, unless he gets traded. So, yeah, huge deal. He's 19 years old. Married already, too. Good for him. But 19 years old. And his first at-bat was an RBI double. He's cooled off since that RBI double. I don't even think he had a single hit for a while. He was making contact with the ball, not like he's striking out every time. But he was due. And he was finally due at the game I went to, where he hit very well. He had 2 RBIs, 2 hits, really solid. So his average is .167 right now. 4 RBIs this season. I like the deal. I mean, you want to lock up your future. I mean, Paul Skeens should be next if we're going to start paying people. Paul Skeens should be next, but locking up the technically number one prospect in the MLB, locking him up for 9 years, pretty solid. And I mean, if I'm Connor Griffin, if I get a guaranteed $140 million, I'm taking that. Like, who wouldn't? I'm sorry, unless you're that greedy at the age of 19. But great deal. I love it. The question with the Pittsburgh Pirates, like the pitching has been good, except for Wednesday's game. That was mainly the bullpen. But the pitching has been consistent. The bats have shown themselves. The question is, will this sustain for a 162 game season? That's the only question. I think there's a lot of promise the Pirates are showing right now. The only question is, will this sustain? Will O'Neal Cruz fall back off? Will the pitching struggle? Will the bullpen implode? It's a long season. I have seen many seasons recently where the Pirates would start like 20-8 and then fall off by the All-Star break. I've seen it. So that's going to be the question for the Pittsburgh Pirates no matter what. Will they fall off? I don't know. It's too early to tell. They've only played 12 games. So it's a long season. There'll be a lot more Pirates discussion on a weekly basis. I can guarantee you that. But I've liked what I've seen so far. Wednesday's loss was not great, but I've liked what I've seen so far. It's just a matter of can they sustain this? With the rest of the MLB, I'm only going to talk about one other thing. The ABS system is in full effect. So I don't think we ever talked about this on the podcast. And I mean, like, essentially how it works. So the ABS system is the system where when a pitch is made and the umpire calls a ball or a strike, the catcher, the batter, or the pitcher can challenge. They tap their head like that, and they can challenge. Hey, ump, that was not a good call. And the ump will say the batter, the catcher, or the pitcher is challenging. And then you look at the big screen, and in about 5 seconds, it will say if it was a ball or a strike. And this gets a lot of great crowd reactions, too, when the call is overturned in the home team's favor. I saw a bunch of these happen at the game I was at live. It was very fun to watch. I think it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, because here's the thing. Each team only gets 2 challenges. But if you win your challenge, you keep it. If you lose your challenge, you lose it. So technically, you could challenge it. You can challenge like 20 times in a game if you get all 20 of those challenges correctly. Or, I mean, if you only get one wrong, but then you get the other 20 right, good job. But if you waste your 2 challenges and you get them both wrong, then you're out for the rest of the game. And at that point, it's on you for being a dummy. So I think it's perfect how it is. I wouldn't tweak it. I wouldn't make it 3. I wouldn't make it like infinite. I wouldn't do anything else right now. I would keep it exactly how it is. I think it works perfectly. I think the fact that it's only set to 2 makes you only challenge the most egregious ones, because you don't want to be wasting it. And I saw some players waste it sometimes. So I like it at 2. If you add more, I think you'll just incentivize players to challenge it more and more for the most basic things. So I like it. I love it a lot. I think it's the next best thing that the MLB has done since the pitch clock. ABS is great for the game. It's absolutely great for the game. I have no complaints about it. I think it's perfect just the way it is. Don't touch it. Don't tingle with it. Don't add any wrinkles. Don't change it at all. The only question will be, when will be the time we get the robotic ump? The only thing that's with the robotic ump is that, like, who's going to declare if a runner is out or safe at home plate? Can the robotic ump do that? I guess the other question is, could the ump have an earpiece in that just says ball or strike every single time? That could maybe be the next step. So the ump at home plate never has to, like, make a call, because in the earpiece it will just say baller strike instantly. I bet we'll get to that point in the future, but for now, like ABS and the way it works. So thing is, like I say too, takes about 5 seconds for an ABS challenge to happen, 5 to 10. You can't do that for every single pitch. You can't, but you can do it for the few times they challenge. So I think it's perfect right now. I would not change a single thing about ABS. Let's move on. That's it for the MLB this week. Love ABS. NFL, not a lot. The draft is looming. It is April 9th, the day I'm recording, April 10th for the day this episode drops. April 23rd is the day of the draft. So we got 13 more days until the draft. Carlin and I will be there. Oh boy, it's in Pittsburgh. I think soon we'll start really predicting who the Steelers will take. If I had to still pick, I would take a wide receiver in the first round. Whoever's the best available, you take him in the first round. You have DK Metcalf, you have Michael Pittman locked up. I'm not confident beyond those two. And even then, Michael Pittman has to prove himself. So I would be drafting a wide receiver in the first round. What could happen? Quarterback, Ty Simpson. Don't know, because Aaron Rodgers has yet to sign. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't sign, then are we really going to go in with Mason Rudolph and Will Howard to start the season? I don't know. Because if Will Howard is not good, then you wasted a season. If he is good, then hallelujah. But if he's not, you wasted a season if your only two quarterbacks are Mason Rudolph and Will Howard. So I feel like they need another quarterback. It probably will be Rodgers. It would be interesting if they drafted a quarterback, though. Still think wide receivers the move. If they did offensive tackle, that would be pretty lame if that's your pick in Pittsburgh. Plus, I think Broderick Jones is fine. They do need a left guard, though, badly. I'm still leaning wide receiver to be drafted in Pittsburgh. I feel like that's the move. But the draft should be really fun. 700,000 people are expected. We'll talk more about that next week as we get even closer to the draft. There's a standoff right now happening in the referee world with the referee union and the NFL. No deal has been made. So the NFL is starting to train other officials in case no deal can be made. So they have some officials to start the season. So there's a little referee standoff right now. I know they were making some new rules and new adjustments and all that, but there's a pay problem. There's a problem where the referees think that the special game should be decided based off of seniority, while the NFL wants to be based off performance. I feel like performance would be the better way to go, not seniority. That's just me. So, yeah. Also, some other news that happened in the NFL. No more Monday Night Football doubleheaders. If you're confused at what I'm talking about, the past couple of years, there have been 2 games on Monday Night Football. Typically, one game would start a little earlier than the other. That's over. There will only be one game on Monday Night Football going forward. I like that. I didn't really vibe with the 2 games on Monday Night Football. I never really did. Didn't care for split screening it or anything. I like just one game. Makes it special. It's the primetime game. So, going back to that. No more doubleheader on Monday Night Football. I don't know if I talked about it yet, but the Raiders signed Kirk Cousins. So, it's interesting. First off, I think Kirk and Fernando are pretty similar. But I don't think this changes anything with who the Raiders are taking number 1. I think they're taking Fernando Mendoza. The only thing that's just interesting, though, is Fernando Mendoza might not start the season. He might not even play the whole season. Which, back in the old days, that was normal. Like, rookie quarterbacks would not start. This is a very traditional approach that the Raiders are going, having a veteran over the rookie. So, mainly, I say this for you fantasy people. Don't draft Fernando Mendoza expecting him to be a starter week 1. And for you dynasty people, you could still draft him. Because obviously dynasty. But don't expect him to start week 1 either. So, yeah, it's an interesting development mainly for fantasy, but if you were expecting to see Fernando Mendoza start week 1, you might not get it. because I still think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback and could probably be a really good mentor to Fernando Mendoza. But Fernando Mendoza probably won't be starting the season. So, interesting to note. Let's talk about the NBA a little bit. Season's nearing its end. Lakers are screwed because Luka Doncic is out for the regular season. He is currently in Europe getting treatment for his hamstring. Who knows if he will be healthy or not for the playoffs? And Austin Reeves is also out for the regular season, too. And it's unclear if he will be in the playoffs or not. So I just mentioned the Lakers there. And the reason why I say them is because they are number 4 in the West. And they could fall lower. But this could hurt their playoff chances. And LeBron don't got many years left. So this kind of hurts LeBron's chance at another ring. Big 3 is only the big 1 right now. That hurts. Talking about my Warriors a little bit. Want to know what's interesting with the NBA? And I've said this a bunch of times, but I'm just going to say it again because this is hilarious to look at. So I'm just looking at Detroit right now. So they have 56 wins, 22 losses. So they played 80 games. The season is pretty much about over at this point. The season is pretty much over. Every team has played at least like 80 games by now. So about 2 more games. This is like the final week coming up. The play-in tournament might literally be next week. I'm going to confirm that. So what's interesting? You would think that, and it is next week, you would think that like in the final games there could be some drama about like who's in the last spot. The playoffs are already determined. Like the teams that are in and out. Like there's no drama. The only drama that there is seeding. So when you look at it, in the East, there's 15 teams. In the West, there's 15 teams. So that might change soon with the expansion teams. But there's 15 in each conference. 10 of those 15 teams are guaranteed to play in the play-in tournament at minimum. I think it's stupid because, I don't know. Like, I feel like it should just be the top 8 seeds are in the playoffs. Because, let's talk about my Warriors. My Warriors are 37-42. And when I hear that record, I would be thinking to myself, like, they're not in the playoffs. 37-42. Like, they're screwed. Maybe at most they're playing for the 10th seed. My Warriors have the 10th seed locked up. They are in the play-in tournament no matter what. 37-42, and they're in the play-in tournament. The team below them, number 11, the Pelicans, are 26-54. So the Warriors are set. And they got 52, 62, 72. They got like 2 or 3 more games left. But they're in the play-in tournament. They're probably going to be the 10th seed. So they could probably rest Steph Curry. But it's kind of just insane with the NBA. You can be 37-42 and have a chance in the playoffs. I think that's kind of egregious, and I'm literally saying that as a Warriors fan. I don't have much faith in the Warriors this year after Jimmy Butler got out with an injury, torn ACL. I mean, if everyone's healthy, maybe they can get some upsets. I have no faith that they're going to win an NBA championship. I will be rooting for them, though. I just don't have much faith this season. I don't. The East, at least, Miami Heat are the 10th seed. I feel like they always are. They're 41-38. The Bucks are 11, 31-49. So, I mean, the season's settled. It's really just seeding at this point. So Toronto and Orlando are playing to determine who's in the play-in tournament and who's not. Philly could also hop in. I mean, okay, Miami is stuck in the play-in tournament. Charlotte, Philly, and Orlando could maybe move out. Atlanta and Toronto could still fall in the play-in tournament. On the west side, It's literally settled. Phoenix, the Clippers, Portland, and Golden State are all in the play-in tournament. It's just about seeding. Where Oklahoma City, uh, Siri just went off after I said city. Okay. Sacramento, or it's not Sacramento, San Antonio. The Spurs are in. They had a great season. Denver's in. Lakers are in. Houston's in. Minnesota's in. The worst team in the NBA is the Washington Wizards. Everyone tried to act surprised, and they probably won't get the number one overall pick because the draft lottery exists. I bet the Pacers will get the number one overall pick. And they will be great next season because Tyrese Halliburton should be back. So, yeah, what a mess. I'm not going to lie. The play-in tournament should be fun. That's next week, though. If my Warriors somehow win, then they'll be a road team every round. I'll be rooting for them. I just don't have much faith this year. I just don't. But it'll be interesting to watch. Obviously, Oklahoma City is the favorite. Detroit is the best team in the East. Boston has Tatum back, so they'll be a threat again. It'll be fun to watch. It will be, but it's just kind of funny how the season's not even over yet and the play-in tournament is settled already, like who's in it. So, and those bottom 5 teams in each conference are going to be taking because there's nothing to play for. So, unless Adam Silver has something to say about tanking. You can't stop tanking. You just can't. You literally just can't. I don't know. But let's move on from the NBA. The NHL. My Pittsburgh Penguins. Hallelujah. They're back. I love it that they're back. I absolutely love it. Playoff hockey will be happening in Pittsburgh. Almost certainly. Now, it's not confirmed. They have not clinched a playoff spot yet. Technically. But a lot would have to go wrong in these next 4 games for the Pittsburgh Penguins for them to miss the playoffs. I think pretty much they would have to lose every game. So they play the day I'm recording. So you guys listening might even know if they won or not. They play the Devils. So if the Penguins were to miss the playoffs, they would have to lose every game, pretty much. And Columbus would have to hop in. So Columbus would have to win, or I guess Detroit even, or maybe the Islanders and Washington. If one of those teams go on a hot streak and the Penguins go absolutely cold, they could miss the playoffs. That's about it. I think if the Penguins win like one more game, they're in. So they might already be in if they beat the Devils. So I digress, though, because I believe the last time I was on this podcast talking, the Penguins were in a tight race. Now they have a little cushion. If the playoffs started today, they would be playing the Flyers. Battle of Pennsylvania. Crazy. Carolina locked up the Eastern Conference. Not the Eastern Conference. They locked up the Metropolitan Division, I should say. Penguins are 2, Phillies 3, Buffalo, Tampa, Montreal are all in the playoffs in the Atlantic. Boston and Ottawa are the last 2 teams in the wild card spot. Columbus, Detroit, Islanders, Washington are trying to hold on. New Jersey's out. Florida out. No more Stanley Cups for the Florida Panthers. The back-to-back-to-back is over. Toronto's out, too. Bad season for them, and the Rangers are out. If you asked me that literally a year ago, I'd be surprised. So those teams fell off. Colorado has clinched the entire Western Conference. They are the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. And I think they're the best team in the NHL. They will win the President's Trophy. 51-16-10 record, 112 points. They are the 1 seed for the whole Stanley Cup playoffs. Dallas is number 2, and they clinched. Minnesota is number 3, and they clinched. In the Pacific, no team has clinched the playoffs. It is tight. Edmonton is the 1. Vegas is the 2. Anaheim is the 3. But Utah and Nashville are in the wild card spot, and they are literally neck and neck. The Kings are on the bubble. San Jose is on the bubble. Winnipeg is on the bubble. St. Louis and Seattle are on the bubble, but their chances are pretty slim to none. Calgary, Chicago, and Vancouver are all out. definitely disappointing if you're a Chicago fan. They've not been able to make that jump anytime soon. So that's the NHL and what's happening there. Hopefully the Penguins can beat the Devils and they can lock it down. Other news. We did the MLB, WNBA. There was a little news. Angel Reese. Everybody knows who Angel Reese is. She got traded. She's no longer playing in Chicago. She's playing for Atlanta. She was traded for multiple first-round picks, so it looks like a tanking move from the Chicago Sky. So it was a tanking move from them, so they trade probably their most popular player. Is she their best player? Probably, too. They trade Angel Reese for picks, so Chicago is tanking. Kind of sucks, though, because, I mean, the WNBA is at a point where you kind of need superstars. Like, if you have a superstar that brings people in, probably shouldn't trade them, especially in a league like the WNBA. Like, if Indiana traded Caitlin Clark, I don't even care if you're tanking or not. Like, if you trade Caitlin Clark, like, what are you doing? I mean, the same goes for any top team, too. Like if Vegas trades Asia Wilson, like, what are you doing? So it's kind of like the Sky. They're not a great team, but if you trade Angel Reese, who I'm sure some people pay to see or want to watch, like, now, what do you really want to watch from the Sky? I don't know. Unless they have a nice season. Who knows? But Angel Reese is in Atlanta. So if you are wondering where she is, that's where she is now. Let's move on. No more college basketball news. Some other news before we get to the WWE talk that tends to end these episodes. The Masters is happening as I speak right now. They will be happening until Sunday, April 12th. You all listening should have seen everything that happened day one. I'm currently watching it right now as I speak. The Masters are always fun. Obviously, no Tiger Woods because he was in a big car accident. DUI, again. Sad to see. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. Rory McIlroy won last year. Can he win it again? Who knows? Scotty Scheffler's at it again. It'll be interesting to watch. Can't wait for the Masters. It should dominate my weekend. One other thing, I just noticed that the FIFA World Cup is in the summer. Just pointing it out because that'll probably be something we got to cover. So FIFA World Cup happening. Gotta love it. Let's end our episode with some WWE talk. So the road to WrestleMania is fast approaching. Today's April 10th when you guys are listening. Literally in, I would say, 8 or 9 days, next week, the end of next week, is WrestleMania. So next week, predictions will be made. Official predictions. But we can talk about the card. But before we talk about the card, Carlin and I went to SmackDown 2 weeks ago in Pittsburgh. It was a good show, at least from the in-person experience. Shows are always very fun to go to for wrestling. I highly recommend if you can go to a show, go to a show. Doesn't even have to be WWE. It could be AEW. It could be your local indie show. Go to a show. They're fun. In terms of this SmackDown, it was a fine show. Like, taking away the bias of being there, it probably wasn't that great. Not a lot happened. We got a little brawl with Randy and Cody. It was kind of average. Jelly Roll wrestled a match. It was kind of fun. There was an RKO on Jelly Roll 2. Other than that, though, like, there were some fine matches. Nikki Bella got injured inside the dome, broke that. Broke that before the dirt sheets could. Check out that tweet. But besides that, what else happened? It's been so long since that SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton wrestled Julia. It's kind of a dead match in terms of the crowd. It's kind of when I took my bathroom break, I won't lie. The crowd was fun, though. I won't lie. When Jade Cargill in our group did her promo, I literally couldn't hear what she was saying because we were booing so loud. It was kind of funny. It sounded like that on TV, too, but I literally could not hear anything they were saying because they were getting booed like crazy. But that match between Rhea and B-Fab was nothing. It was almost like, what? Like, what was that? Drew and Jacob had a good promo, too. It was a fine show. A 3-hour show is kind of a lot, too, especially when it ends at 11 p.m. think Raw has like this sweet spot of 2.5 hours where you just start the main event at 10 and go from there. But 3 hours is a little long, I won't lie. But it was a fun show for being there. I bet if I was watching it, I wouldn't think the same way. But obviously, the more interesting stuff to talk about happened in the SmackDown after. Shocked that they didn't do the big reveal in Pittsburgh because Pat McAfee is from Pittsburgh. So I'm shocked they didn't do his big reveal in Pittsburgh. But I guess he's supposed to be a heel, so he's not going to trash the city of Pittsburgh. But it would have made some sense for him to appear in Pittsburgh. Oh well. So yeah, the big thing that got people talking last week was Pat McAfee being the man that Randy Orton was calling and getting advice from. Randy Orton was listening to one man. People thought, oh, maybe it's his dad. Oh, maybe it's Kevin Owens. Maybe it's Ric Flair. Maybe it's, Vince of all people. Maybe it's Stephanie because she talked to Cody the previous week. Like, anybody. Then all of a sudden it's Pat McAfee. And then Pat cuts this promo about how he wants the Attitude Era back. There shouldn't be tickets still available when Randy Orton is around. And we shouldn't have these 5-foot guys and 45-minute Iron Man matches when Randy's around. All of that. Got a lot of hate online. Mainly because it does not really fit with what the story was. Like, the story for what it is was, 20-year history between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Cody allowing the voices to come back, so Randy Orton has tapped back into the legend killer Randy Orton, the Viper, the heel Randy Orton, but the fans still like. Then you bring in Pat McAfee, who is now talking about how Randy Orton needs to save the business and he's going to save the product. Literally said that the SmackDown I went to was one of the lowest rated SmackDowns of all time. And I think that SmackDown that Pat was on was worse. And like literally mentioning that, mentions like how are tickets still available for WrestleMania when Randy Orton's around. Randy's going to save the effing business. And then Cody came out saying like, I'm sorry you all had to see that. Of all the people Randy was calling, Pat McAfee, really? Then he took some shots at TKO as well. So it's interesting. It's not great. But then after Monday Night Raw, it gets a little bit interesting, to say the least. So after Monday Night Raw, or at Monday Night Raw, CM Punk has a promo. So Roman Reigns is not on TV this week. He took the week off after getting powerbombed through a table. So it's only CM Punk this week. So it's almost like what's going to happen? Is he just going to do a promo? Could the Usos come out and say something to him again? I don't know. But it's only CM Punk. And he comes out at the very beginning of the show. He comes in. He starts talking about the history of Houston wrestling. But then it gets into the pipe bomb. CM Punk talks about Roman Reigns not showing up this week. Punk showed up the week after getting powerbombed through a table, but Roman doesn't. Talks about why he hates Roman Reigns. He's fake. He's safe. He's plastic. He goes on Jimmy Fallon because he's safe. Punk won't go on there because they might be afraid of what CM Punk says. Roman is safe and boring. He's just your typical celebrity guy now. You're a simple star. That's what Punk says. Punk also does the line of, you ate dog food for a weird old man. I took my dignity and I left. Obviously mentioning the big dog days where Roman was the big dog and Vince McMahon overpushed him. And at one point, Roman did get dog food poured all over him in the dark days. So a little big dog reference. I kind of wanted to hear some more big dog references in this feed, so we're finally getting it. But he mentions that, so he takes the shot at Vince. He also takes the shot at The Rock. He says that Roman Reigns, like, when he does show up, he shows up late, chest up high, and leaves early, like The Rock. But then he says The Rock is at least a Hollywood star. So taking a shot at Roman for not being a Hollywood star, but then takes the shot at The Rock by saying was a Hollywood star. Kind of funny because now The Rock, I mean, God, what was his last big movie that wasn't in a already set franchise? Like the Moana remake. He's getting clowned for that, but Moana 2 is a sequel. What was like the last big thing that The Rock was in? Oh, Shatter Machine. That was good, but not a big movie. Didn't do well in the box office. God, what else has The Rock been in recently? God, he was in that Christmas movie that I know was not good. Oh, I don't know what it was called, but I'm currently looking up his filmography right now. There it is. Let's see what The Rock has been in lately. Film. It's been in a lot of movies. Moana, the remake. The untitled Jumanji sequel. So, legacy sequels. Franchise sequels. Last year, he was a voice cameo in Zootopia 2. Never saw it. And The Smashing Machine. Before that, in 2024, he was in Moana 2 sequel. And Red One. That was the bad Christmas movie I was thinking about. 2023, Fast X, a cameo. Once Upon a Studio. It was a short film where he played Maui, the Moana character. 2022, he played a voice role in DC League of Super Pets. Never really heard of it. And he was in Black Adam. We all know how Black Adam went. 2021, he was in The Jungle Cruise. It was actually a good movie. Free Guy was a cameo. Red Notice. That was the big Netflix movie. It was fine. Yeah, he hasn't been in a big movie, like a good movie in a while. I guess Smashing Machine was a good role for him where he acted well. Yeah, was a Hollywood superstar. Still a big influence. Should come back to wrestling, though. Maybe he will. We'll mention that. I just wanted to clown on The Rock a little bit. Love The Rock, but had to say that. But then, yeah, so Punk does his promo. It's great. Great shots at Roman Reigns. But the question really is, like, oh, he also said, like, if I sucked at as many main events, if I sucked at all the opportunities that Roman Reigns got, I would have been fired. But Roman gets to main event 11 Manias, suck at 8 of them. Now, 8 of Roman's WrestleManias didn't suck. Maybe half of them. 32 wasn't good. 33 wasn't good. 34 wasn't good. 38 was average. 39 had a terrible ending. 40 part 1 was the setup to 40 part 2. So, yeah, maybe not 8, but definitely some weren't good. But it was great lines. Now, before I mention the other part of the promo, I'll just say that Punk is probably winning the feud. I would say before this week, like I'd say they were both dead even, where like I think Roman got enough wins where if he beat up Punk or he got the edge over what he said, I think Roman and Punk were dead even. But now I think Punk's got a big lead because I don't know how Roman Reigns next week follows up any of what Punk said. Like you can't call Punk old. You can't do a brawl next week too. You got to have a promo segment where Roman needs to get some of his momentum back. If you're Roman Reigns, the most you can do now is like mention AEW and his failure there. You got to pull it out now. Mention AEW, mention the fact that CM Punk, how he left AEW. Like that's your only shot now if you're Roman Reigns to get some edge on CM Punk, because right now CM Punk owns you. And I just don't see a world where Roman Reigns wins at WrestleMania right now without outside interference. But the other part of the promo that went big and I loved was he went after Pat McAfee. Literally called him Pat McAfee. McAfee. If you know the reference, you do. But yeah, goes into him and he says that you've been shoehorned, you're whatever he called him, just insulting him. And he said that you should call your agent, the one that shoehorned you in, and tell him to lower the ticket prices. Huge line to say because, I mean, one of the reasons why WrestleMania is not selling out right now. I wouldn't blame the reason as to like the stories are mid, because the WrestleMania card, when you look away from the build, the card is really good. It's a really good WrestleMania card. The problem is it's so expensive, and you're in a really expensive city too. So the tickets are expensive, especially when you want to pay for both nights. And then staying in Las Vegas is expensive. Obviously, you got to fly to Las Vegas, and look at how tough it is to fly right now in our country. Like, it's tough. Like, I wouldn't make that investment to go to Las Vegas. I made the investment to go to SummerSlam, and it was completely fine. I would never make that investment to go to Las Vegas with those prices. That's the problem. And, I mean, TKO, it's all over the ring. There's ads everywhere. There's ads on tables. When you watch the PLEs, there's like 5-minute ad breaks in between matches. There's so many ads. Prices have gone up. I think the SmackDown I went to after WrestleMania 40 was way cheaper than the SmackDown I went to 2 weeks ago. I think it went from like $20 to $60. So, yeah, lower the ticket prices. Now, I saw one thing, like, I don't think it's going to be a storyline where, like, if CM Punk beats Pat McAfee, then the ticket prices will be lowered. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But what is interesting is that CM Punk called out Pat McAfee in TKO. It now feels like, with Pat McAfee being aligned with Randy Orton, it's less about just, oh, Pat McAfee wants to save the business and bring back the Attitude Era. Now it feels like Pat McAfee joining Randy Orton was a TKO thing, where TKO put in Pat McAfee to increase interest, which that is probably true. But now that's almost the storyline on screen as well. The Pat McAfee is here because of TKO, not because of like the love for the game and to save the business or whatever. And I think you got some cool story there if you lean into that. Now, it could get uninteresting if they completely ignore the Punk promo and just keep doing what they're doing. But I think you could do a cool little TKO angle here, where, I mean, Pat McAfee can be the representative of TKO, because we haven't had like an authority type of storyline in a while where the people on top are the heels since the authority. I mean, we had The Rock at WrestleMania 40, where he was the board of directors. This could lead to the return of The Rock. Because, I mean, God, if The Rock is going to wrestle at any point, I feel like it would be Saudi Mania, Rock versus Roman. But you could have a scenario where, like, TKO, they want Randy Orton to be their champion. Maybe Randy Orton rejects that, turns back to babyface, after realizing, oh, maybe Pat McAfee doesn't have my best interest in mind. Like, he wants me to be a corporate stooge. I think there could be a cool story with a TKO angle on TV. And I hope they just lower the ticket prices in general. But I think you could do a cool angle with that. It could even involve night 2. The Roman Reigns CM Punk match has gone through so many different kinds of stories. At first, it was just they hate each other. That was the story. Then it turned into the Usos being involved, and could we see the bloodline reunite? And now it could turn into, does TKO try to stop CM Punk from winning? I could see a story where maybe even Pat McAfee comes out to help Roman Reigns win on night 2. The Rock could come out at night 2 and help Roman Reigns win. Because, God, if you're TKO, you love Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was the champion when TKO acquired WWE. WWE was at its boom point when Roman Reigns was champion. Storyline-wise, if we lean into the TKO stuff, they would want Roman Reigns to be champion. Pat McAfee would be wanting to represent Roman Reigns. They might want Randy Orton on one side and Roman Reigns on the other. And you could see this as a story that's been brewing for a while, too, because last year, The Rock wanted Cody Rhodes to be his champion. And he brought in Travis Scott to help out. And when Cody rejected The Rock, when I say The Rock, that means TKO, They wanted John Cena to be their champion. They sent Travis Scott to help Cena win the title. But then Cena realized, like, they did not have my best interest in mind, so I became babyface again. So maybe this is something similar. It could be. So you could see a night 2 where TKO wants Roman Reigns to win. You could get the big babyface moment where Roman Reigns rejects The Rock at WrestleMania. The Rock wants Roman to be his champion, but Roman Reigns says hell no, and Superman punches The Rock. I will not be your champion. That could start the year-long build to Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Who knows? In a perfect world, they lean into this TKO angle. In a perfect world. In a bad world, they ignore the TKO angle. Pat McAfee is just there, just being involved in this feud, and people get annoyed by it, and they don't lean into like the TKO angle at all. That'd be a worst case scenario. But I think they're going to lean into it because CM Punk talking about it makes me think it's a part of the story. Like there's a story happening here. So good stuff. Great promo from CM Punk. That might be his best promo since returning. I don't think that's a hot take either. Some final thoughts as this episode nears an end. The WrestleMania card is all but certain too. Next week we'll predict it, but the card is set for the most part. So night 1 on the free hour that will be on ESPN2 on night 1 and ESPN on night 2. The free hour for night 1 is Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and I Show Speed versus the Usos and LA Knight. I understand why, because I Show Speed is viral. So that'll get a lot of viewers for night 1. Also, Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu will be in the free hour as well, unsanctioned. I think that's smart. I mean, 2 viral matches, one being a crazy unsanctioned match, the other one being some viral social media presence. I think that's smart to put the 2 matches there in the free hour. And it's honestly an honor to be in the free hour because you might get more viewers. More people might be watching your match in the free hour compared to the main event. So it's interesting there. The other matches on night 1, which are pretty much all but certain. Lash and Nia versus Bayley and Lyra versus Charlotte and Alexa versus the Bella Twins. That is confirmed. The only thing that's interesting is something I'll mention later with that match. I accidentally had the Kabuki Warriors in there. Oops. I'm shocked they weren't in there, but they could be in something else potentially. Or maybe they are in that match. I'll get to that later. The next match that is happening is Seth Rollins versus Gunther. After Raw, Gunther said that Paul Heyman might owe him more than just a simple thank you. Could tease to a Gunther-Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam. Who knows? But that's happening. Braun Breaker's reportedly healthy. So maybe they're just saving that match for later with a longer build. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the IC title. Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan in the what I would call the co-main event for the Women's World Championship. Liv Morgan and Roxanne took a nasty bump. Foreheads collided after Stephanie Vaquer pushed Liv Morgan into Roxanne. Nasty bump. But it increases the intensity of the feud. Love it. The main event of night 1 is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the WWE title, and Pat McAfee is even in the graphic now for that. So we'll predict it next week, night 1. Night 2, the free hour is Brock Lesnar versus Obafemi, which is huge for Obafemi to be in the free hour against Brock Lesnar. The other match is the IC ladder match. The Intercontinental title. Penta versus Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus JD McDonough, and now Rey Mysterio is in that match too. Could a 7th person be added? Maybe. Like maybe El Grande Americano gets in. I don't know. But right now it's set at 6. So what's interesting is a lot of people thought Rey Mysterio would fight Gunther at WrestleMania. Literally the only connection was Gunther beating up a luchador in Dragon Lee. I thought that would have been a bad Mania match. So I'm happy Ray is doing this and Gunther is fighting Seth. Those are the 2 free matches. Those will open the show. Brock and Oba is my most intriguing match of the whole card. Can't wait for it. It'll probably open the show. After that, you got Finn Balor, who will be the Demon, against Dominic Mysterio. You got Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. It is pretty much a one-on-one match. I don't think Carmelo Hayes will get added for the U.S. title. The co-main event will be Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley for the women's WWE title. And then the main event will be CM Punk versus Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship. So that's the card. When I mentioned that there could be another match, I think night 2 could have one more match. It could be, I'll name the potential final matches that could be added. And I'll say which one it will likely be. Because I don't think Sunday will only have 6 matches. Night 1 has 7. I think night 2 will have 7. There's Julia, who is yet to defend her U.S. title on a PLE. She could defend against Tiffany Stratton. You could even throw in Chelsea Green and Kiana James in there. That's a potential final match. Damian Priest and R-Truth are the tag team champions, and they're not in a match. I don't think they make the card, though. If I'm going to say it right now, I don't think they make the card. There's the El Grande versus El Grande match that should be happening at some point. I don't think that makes the Mania card because I think they're going to save that for AAA, where I think the feud is hotter there. The MFTs versus Wide 6. I think that will also just be saved for the SmackDown before Mania. Danhausen and whoever against The Miz and Kit Wilson. That's been a story that's been brewing. Could happen at Mania. I thought it was going to be Jelly Roll and Danhausen versus The Miz and Kit Wilson. But Jelly Roll has not been on TV since the Pittsburgh show. I think this upcoming SmackDown episode will determine if Jelly Roll wrestles at Mania or not. But it'd be weird if he didn't after having this little run. And then there's Io Sky versus Asuka. Io's been involved in the Rhea business, but she doesn't have a match of her own. If I had to predict what that final match is, I would say it's Io Sky versus Asuka. But the other interesting thing I've heard is that Nikki Bella might not be cleared to compete. If Nikki Bella is not healthy, they could replace the Bella Twins with Asuka and Kairi Sane. So if they replace the Bella Twins with the Kabuki Warriors, I could see it maybe be that Julia versus Tiffany Stratton match. Or just the U.S. title match in general. Either way, I think both of those 2 women's matches should be happening. I feel like Tiffany Stratton should be on WrestleMania after being the champion last year. Io Sky, same thing. She was the champion last year. She should be on WrestleMania. I think both of those matches should be added. I think there should be 8 matches per night. I think the 8th match would be the MFT Wyatt 6 payoff. That's been happening for months. Make it a Anarchy in the Arena match. That's what I would do. I would say by next week, the card will be finalized by Monday Night Raw. I think after Monday Night Raw, if they don't announce any new matches, I think the card is finalized. I don't think anyone will be added to the matches as well. So next week, we will predict WrestleMania. I will give my official predictions for each match. So it should be fun next week. So stay tuned for that. Thank you all for listening to this episode. Next week will be another Under the Lights episode. It will happen earlier in the week. It won't be dropping on Friday. It should be dropping earlier in the week. So stay tuned for that. We'll predict WrestleMania. I'll talk about who won the Masters. I'll hype up the play-in tournament that will be happening in the NBA. The NHL regular season could be done by then. We'll get even closer to the NFL draft, so it'll be one episode next week. Check out the Final Verdict, where I'm about to pump in some episodes. They all could be out now. They might not be out yet. Invincible's been due for a review. Daredevil and The Boys. I'm going to try to get all that out. It's just me this week, so I'm going to try to get that all out as I start to lose my voice. Follow our social medias, our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok, our YouTube. You can follow our Facebook to get the same content as our Instagram and TikTok. Follow all that. It's all in the link tree in the link in bio. But other than that, thank you all for listening to this episode. I'm John Dodaro. Have a great day, everybody, and see you next time on Inside the Dome.